We did too have a federal. You're full of it.
For those who can't hear
but we
this,
had federal
Tess
as
is
well.
talking to Dustin.
Yes. Anyway, he's going to be out.
Perfect.
This is my knowledge of Canada.
I know. I was
Canadian
like,
politics. That's why
testing.
people come to this show. Hot takes.
This episode is made possible by our Theraparamore?
Theody. There it is.
Dark Lord himself, Jim's Fascia.
Fascia.
Okay.
Fascia.
And our Thera partners, Dirty B and Pickett from fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada.
the
This is
French
Pod
accent.
Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now, broadcasting from the churn, that's Jim, that's Whitney, I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
So in the last episode with Whitney and I, where we were unsupervised by Nick, we introduced our new, at the time, Theraparamore, but we have changed it to Theody. And he explained the joke. So at the time we were like, we don't get the joke. So he messaged us all on Discord and explained the joke. And he said, here's the bit. Jim, we've all met Jim's mom. Like we've met members of hosts' families a bunch of times. But Jim's dad has never been discussed. So has never been introduced as a character to the show, leaving a huge opportunity for that person to become whatever we want. And basically their argument was, remember how Jim went to evangelical university and stuff? Wouldn't it be great if Jim's dad was Satan? And so that's his bit, is that he has signed up as a patron as my father, the Dark Lord, and that he's Jim's Fascia.
Fascia.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm happy with all
Love
of
it.
that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. The thinking through was excellent.
Yeah.
But, next time don't expect us to connect all those dots.
We've got Tess in the studio. Hello, Tess.
Producer Tess.
Thank you. Tess gave us some gifts, so check out the Patreon if you want to hear all the amazing things that she got
Canada.
us. iPads, laptops, all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah. Drugs that she smuggled.
She got Whitney.
Yeah. Yeah, we came
where
out.
Whitney
Bye,
is.
guys.
It's fine.
I also brought some stuff from France.
You did?
I brought y'all some French chocolates.
Oh, shit.
So
Did you bring
Can we
me a
eat them
French
now?
kiss?
On air.
Did you bring enough for
no.
Jim?
Now, I did have French wine,
Ooh.
but since you guys fucked up things so much when I was
did.
gone,
Yeah, we
I
did.
decided I'm keeping the wine. That's
Fair.
for
Damn
me.
it.
Fair.
You can
Yeah.
have the chocolates.
All right, I'll take
All
the
right.
chocolate.
So
I don't
there you
care.
go. You've
I don't
got
care
the
Fair,
about
fair
this.
trade.
Yeah,
we
whatever.
deserve that.
Yeah.
You do.
Whatever.
You really do.
It wasn't that bad.
It was bad.
Some of that wasn't our fault. Some of that was
That's
tech
fair.
stuff.
That's fair.
It was unavoidable. Whatever. Anyway, welcome back from Paris, Nick. We're all glad that you're here. Welcome, Tess, longtime supporter of the show. Thank you for putting up with us all these years and for getting our show tattooed on your body,
Yeah.
which I still I'm fine with. I've made peace with it. I've
We
made
compromised by me not putting the title
That's
on
true.
there.
It's just the cute
You
logo.
can still add it.
Yeah. That's
Smart.
that's
She's
actually what
going.
I'm doing on
Oh,
Tuesday.
God damn it. Oh, really? You said you were just doing little touch. Okay, thank God. Oh,
Nick
thank
got
God.
so
Okay.
I was like, what?
Okay, good. All right, I could sleep. at
Putting
night.
Jim's name on it.
Chocolate?
Yes, but if you would like to come to the pre-show hangout, go to patreon.com/therapy. We talk to Tess a little bit more about what's going on in Canada. We hear all about Nick's lovely French Tour de France. Can I say that? Can I? Okay, excellent. Yes. And then, of course, most importantly over all those stories is my trip to Disneyland and to Nashville. Back-to-back weekends, buddy.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Nashville is the Paris of Tennessee.
I consider it that. Right. Yeah. Also, I insisted on not. Okay, so we're doing French chocolates. I will
We've
be
been
eating
talking.
my first
Sorry, this is
French
so good.
chocolate while
Oh,
you're
yeah.
both answering
I mean, the
questions.
best time to eat chocolate is while doing a podcast.
I love that all
Especially
the gifts
if it's
are food.
caramel. And,
Yeah.
There's crunching in mine.
Get in there.
Open the cheesies.
Ooh, yeah. Get the cheesy
Right.
crunches. Well, isn't the
Oh my
coffee
gosh, this
crisp
is
just like
good.
straight like toffee and caramel?
No.
Okay. Makes
No.
a nice light snack. Un couture leder de liqueur.
Nick, can you bring him to Paris next time?
That's not what that means.
There is a
And
Patreon
make him
level.
order
Jim
There's a
needs
Patreon
Jim
level
needs a
to do
vlog.
that.
It's
need a
funny
vlog.
because as much as the Patreon level would cost to get me to go, you'd have to double that to get Nick to hang out with me in
That's
fucking
very
France.
fair.
No. Here's the thing. Give me a nice camera. That's all.
Okay, you just follow me with a GoPro.
I'll pay my way.
Yeah, it'll
pay
pay
my
back.
way.
There'll be payback.
Yeah.
just to follow me around the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Oh, did you guys see the? If you follow me on Instagram,
yeah.
I posted a picture. So one of the nights we were just walking around, and we came by the Louvre. So like, oh, let's
Louvre.
walk through there at night.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's all lit up and everything.
This is the pyramid.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's there too, but it's
Yeah.
a huge
Pyramid.
building.
Oh.
Anyway,
The pyramid was added later.
yeah, much later. So anyway,
Jim's not
there's a guy playing the cello.
Oh.
And in the middle of one of the main walkways to walk through, and so it echoes, and the acoustics are amazing.
Oh, I think I
That's
saw it.
very
Did you
And
post
so
that
I
video?
did. Yeah.
It sounded
Oh,
incredible.
Amazing.
Wow.
It was
I don't
so
think
cool.
I've seen that
Definitely.
one.
Oh, go to my Instagram and check it out.
By the way, I
It's really good.
appreciated your postings on
I did
Facebook,
too.
on Instagram. My favorite, and Whitney and I have talked about this, was your cropped photo of the Eiffel Tower.
I had to explain.
Like, of all the objects that maybe shouldn't be cropped panoramically and like maybe just not the landscape, get the vertical, maybe the
Just
Eiffel
let him
Tower.
finish and then tell me what you think he's saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to show you.
Yeah. So
You
you
mean that you
posted-
took a picture of the Eiffel Tower with your phone on its side and not
Yeah.
straight up and down?
we can't see the whole Eiffel
No, no,
Tower.
no.
That's not what he
Yeah.
means? Oh my God, he's an idiot.
Well, no, that is mostly what I mean. Like,
No.
the thing he posted. So, okay, Whitney tried to explain why this happened, but I didn't
Okay.
understand it.
Instagram
It's-
cuts.
Oh, the,
Yes.
cut, the Instagram
It-
cut.
Yes.
Instagram
Oh,
cuts
okay.
shit.
I was like,
and
Yeah.
it irritated me. I had so many really good pictures
Yeah.
that I ended up not using
Oh.
because
One's
when
like
I go to
this.
post it,
This is
Yeah.
the picture.
yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yep.
Go to the Pod Therapy
Like
Instagram.
that.
I don't even know
If
that.
you'd like
Yeah.
to see it.
What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
so it
that
got completely
upsets
cut
me.
off. So when you posted
Yeah.
that, I then took that picture from Facebook where I first found it, where you had posted it under your account, and then I took a picture of the Eiffel Tower here in Las Vegas.
I did see that.
And then I
yeah.
put those side by side on our Pod Therapy Instagram.
Yeah.
Mostly just make fun of the fact that ours is better than yours.
See,
so.
Jim did do a lot of traveling
I
while
did.
you were gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck, we pretty much are the same guy. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Last thought before we go on, I rode Spirit both ways to Nashville.
What?
And,
Did you use your points?
How many
Let me
points
tell
are
you
left?
oh yeah, I'm finally burning through some points.
I'm proud
but
of
not
you.
Enough.
I am proud of
Not
you.
enough because they also declared bankruptcy
Yes!
on my way home.
Did they really?
Yes,
Yeah.
I was on the plane.
I have a Spirit
I was like,
flight.
oh no!
I
I thought of
Did it just
be like
did
that
it just
Tom Hanks
drop from
movie?
the sky?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be that Tom Hanks movie where they just like, I don't have a nation now.
I just
sorry.
assume if you're mid-flight and they declare bankruptcy, they just switch it to off.
It's
Like
off.
everything's just
Sorry
fuck
guys,
it,
we can't
we're
afford
done.
to finish this. We're not getting paid for this flight.
We can't pay for this gas.
I was really scared because like on the news, like I had the Wi-Fi going, and I was like, I paid extra for that. And I was like, reading the news, it's like Spirit declares bankruptcy, and I'm thinking this pilot's gonna kill us all.
Oh my
The lights
gosh.
dim, the
done.
Wi-Fi goes out.
Wow.
I was just like, oh god, I hope they're still taking care of the pilots.
Wow.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so Spirit.
I have a whole bunch of airline stories too, but I'll have to tell you guys later because
We'll get
should
it into
onto the show.
Patreon.
But
Yeah. Oh man. So travel stories galore, patreon.com/therapy to join us for the pre-show hangout. But for now, we've got some great questions that are very timely, very relevant. And the first one today is Thanksgiving and family from Tess's
gonna be
fellow Theraproducer, Nathan M.
Oh shit, is it already Thanksgiving?
It
We
is.
are
I was just
almost
thinking
there.
that
Oh,
too.
it's gotten away from me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
I just ordered my turkey yesterday.
Ours is better.
Ooh.
Your turkey or your Thanksgiving?
You
Our
guys don't have
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving? You didn't
Yes,
make
they
friends
do.
with pilgrims? Wait,
Wait, what?
other one. The Native Americans. You don't even
Wow.
have Native Americans. You don't.
Wow. Tess's
don't. That is
face
a
says
scientific
everything.
fact.
They have
You're just
First
wrong.
Nations.
Lots
They're
of
just
raised
wrong.
eyebrows.
But they
Native.
don't have Native Americans. They're Canadians.
Yes,
They're
the
still
continent.
American.
The continent, Jim. You fucking idiot.
Well,
They're
hold
still
on.
American.
We didn't make peace with the Native
It's called
Canadians.
North and South America.
Look, Pocahontas wasn't Canadian, and I will not allow you to sully
Oh my
her
gosh,
good
this
name.
is not the Patreon.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I think we're going to have to
This
restart.
is the part of the show that you're supposed to be respectable.
I know.
Like you
Yeah.
have doctor.
Yeah.
It's Dr.
Oh, I only
Jobin,
got that
for
back on
God's sake.
loan.
Yeah.
He loaned me my title back.
think
I
he gets that
literally
until the
have
next
no
episode.
answer
Least
for that.
program.
I just
Yeah,
no.
there's nothing.
There's nothing.
That's
All
why
right.
I'm saying I turn my chair this way
Whatever.
and I just
When you see idiocy like this, you
Nathan's-
have to call it out. You're
Nathan's
obligated
question.
to call it out. That's why I say, for America, Jim is a fucking idiot.
I think it's hurtful to say that Pocahontas was
Thank you.
Canadian, and I'll leave it there. I, for one, am on her side. Hello, Pod Therapy people.
Hallelujah.
Oh my God, ADD.
I am a 33-year-old male living in the United States. My 70-year-old father and I had an unstable relationship, and I've come close a few times to cutting him off entirely. About a year and a half ago, this did end up happening after a particularly bad argument we had at the tail end of a 7-hour drive. He was frustrated about many things, and when I didn't pull over so he could buy cigarettes, he exploded. I should note that he doesn't typically smoke, and he's normally quite healthy. He just really wanted some cigarettes that day. He didn't do anything physical, but as I was driving, he screamed obscenities at me for a good 10 minutes while I just sat there and tried to keep my cool. I didn't pull over for the cigs or because of his outburst, because we were at the last leg of our journey and I just wanted to get home. This isn't the first time something like this has happened. In fact, it's quite par for the course, and I'm tired of him using me as an emotional punching bag and then expecting everything to go back to normal. He's used fear, manipulation, and outright verbal abuse as his parenting tactics, and has even hit me a couple of times when I was young. The unfortunate thing is that he doesn't acknowledge any wrongdoing or take responsibility for his actions. He doesn't believe in mental health, nor does he believe in showing any kind of vulnerability, and he especially will never admit being wrong, but rather believes that he's right about everything, and everyone else is wrong all the time. He has literally said this. About a week after that car ride, he sent me an email of what appeared to be an apology, but after reading through it, I saw no apology, but rather him justifying his actions by putting the blame on me, which just made me feel more angry about the situation. I told him we needed to speak in person so that I could clarify what he really meant, since maybe he didn't actually mean it that way, and also I didn't want to start a long email chain concerning the issue. When we finally did meet, I apologized for my own behavior and expressed empathy for where he was coming from. Yet, he still doubled down and made it very clear that he felt the way I had interpreted in his email and refused to even acknowledge, let alone apologize, for the way he acted. This just made me more angry, and so I ended the conversation telling him that if he couldn't acknowledge any wrongdoing or take responsibility, I could no longer be around him, since there is no evidence that his behavior will change. I told him to leave me alone, and I blocked him. Cut to a little over a month ago. The area we live in was hit by a hurricane. We lost power and water, and there was a lot of natural devastation, trees felled, flooding, etc. I still care about my father, despite his shortcomings, so after getting my house in order, I made my way up to his place to check on him, as he lives in the woods on a mountain, and I didn't know what his situation would be. We also didn't have cell service at the time, so I couldn't simply call him. It turns out he was fine and his house wasn't damaged. I stayed for a few minutes to make sure he had everything he needed, and we were civil towards each other, but didn't talk about the whole issue causing our split. Since then, it's become clear that he thinks everything is back to normal between us, or at least he hopes that it is. He's invited me for a family dinner a couple times, though never asking directly, but rather sending my sister as a proxy, and tries to send me emails of random stuff he finds on the internet. I, however, don't feel ready for that. When it comes to the rest of my immediate family, I've never tried to have them pick sides. In fact, I encourage them to spend the holidays with him, since he doesn't have anyone else. Now, with this year's holiday fast approaching, they're all hoping that I will come to Thanksgiving, which will be hosted at Dad's house. Honestly, the only reason I'm even considering going is because I do care about and enjoy being around my mother and my sister, and I know they want me to be there. I know I'm holding on to negative emotions and holding a grudge, but it's difficult for me to go. I feel that if I do show up, I'll be in a negative state, which will just bring down the mood for everyone else. I'm considering calling him before Thanksgiving, but I really just don't know how to talk to him about this, or if it's even worth trying. If you could give me any advice, I would greatly appreciate it. Love the podcast. Signed, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan, and thank you for supporting the show.
Yes.
Yeah. My question is, you mentioned talking to your dad again, and if it's even worth it. Did it go well the first time? Has it been going well any time you've talked to him before? And do you think that his behavior reaction will change? If you do, why would it be different? Mm-hmm. By 70, I hate to come out the gate Debbie Downer, but I'm just like, I've seen this way too many times. It is very few older adults change their behaviors with their adult kids. very few. And if they do, it's because they've been like pushed into a corner too. And even then, I mean, I'm going to gender stereotype a little bit here, but for older men, they really dig their heels in, is what I've noticed, just from my personal experience. So.
Yeah. Explain that to my mother-in-law.
She can join that side. We'll let
Bring
her
her
in.
on the show, Jake.
Speaking of.
No, I think
My mother-in-law is a lovely woman.
Let the record show.
Yes.
no, but I think you're right in the sense that like at this age, people don't change.
No.
Like there's not going to be anything that's going to happen here where he's going to come out and he's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I was sorry for what I did. That's not going to happen. I
Nope.
think my advice in this is I feel like you have to move the goalpost.
Yeah.
You have to change what the meaning of success is going to be here, you know, and I think that may just be just being tolerant of who he is and how he's going to act. And just success is not changing his behavior, but success is making it. What?
Do you guys hear that?
I don't know what that is.
That's weird.
There's ghosts in the machine.
Well, did they hear it?
I don't
The
know.
audience? Oh, I hope you did.
Yeah.
That
I
was
know.
kinda-
I feel like
Sounds
you've
like
done
a
that
weird thing.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like somebody was slowly releasing a fart.
I heard that too. I'm like, who's
It was
doing it? Who's
very,
doing
it was
it?
very just
Yeah.
There's
These
only
are
one
very
person not on
sensitive
mic.
Just
microphones.
very,
Yeah.
very soft. No, so anyway, what was I? Oh, so success isn't going to be him changing his behavior. Success is going to be you learning to adapt to his behavior and be able to coexist with his behavior.
Yeah.
I think that's probably your best bet.
Well,
I
you
like
guys,
that.
you guys are kind of saying this like it's a downer. I think the ball. What's the writer's name again? Nathan.
Nathan.
Yeah.
Nathan. The ball. I think this is a good thing. The ball is entirely in Nathan's court here. So like. You get to decide exactly what you want to do going forward here, and you know everything that's going to happen already.
Yeah.
You know how your dad is going to behave going forward, probably for the rest of his life. And that gets to be okay. It's not your job to change it. You don't have to change it. So you work within that confine, however that means for you. And now your dad is clearly opening up he's offering a bit of an olive branch back in exchange for at least what he perceives to have been an olive branch in the first place. Maybe you meant it as that, maybe you didn't. But you know, that's probably how he perceives you coming to check on him.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to do. Like you want to go check on your dad and everything in case of a hurricane. That's a fine thing to go do. So like he wants you to be back around. Obviously your family wants you to be back around in the game. So now you get to decide exactly how much of that you want to participate in going forward. And just say, like, it doesn't have to be a thing. It doesn't have to be like, well, I'm still not coming to this. I'm not coming to this, but I will come to Thanksgiving and I will come to this holiday and whatever else. Like, it doesn't have to be any of that. It can just be like, yeah, I'm going to make it to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You don't have to declare what you're going to do going forward. You have to declare that you're going to come to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to go to Thanksgiving.
Or you don't have to go to Thanksgiving.
Don't
That's
remind
exactly
me
my
that,
point.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
my point, is you don't have to do any of these things, but you get to decide 100%. You don't have anything else that you have to rely on here other than your own wants and needs.
I do like the idea of if you go to Thanksgiving, set a goal of what you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And that goal could be, I want to have a good conversation with my mom.
Sure.
I want to talk to my sister and see how things are going with her.
Nephew, maybe.
Yeah.
Or,
I want to play with my nephew.
That's it.
You know, set goals like that so that if you've done that, then that's a successful trip. It has nothing to do with dad.
Well-
Dad can be great or he can be an asshole, and it has no effect either way.
I just want to quickly add to that. If there is something that happens, like your dad starts yelling at you or screaming at you, this is maybe just a personal opinion, but if you don't enjoy those things, you do not have to stay and put up with it. I know you were stuck in the car with
Yeah.
him, so, you know, you do what you can.
Which,
but
let's be honest, after 7 hours in a car together.
Peter and mine's biggest fight was after a road
Yeah.
trip.
I remember you telling me about
Yeah.
that.
Never fight. And that one, I was like, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. 7 hours with Mother Teresa, and she's like, give me some fucking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Teresa was a monster.
Nobody wants to deal with you for that long. But no, I agree with both of these points.
Also, he's 70. Get him some fucking cigarettes.
I know, pull him over. Just give him cigarettes. If
No.
you're mad at him, get him cigarettes.
he is going to yell when he's...
Smoke him up, Pop. No, but like
Unfiltered.
that's right. Get him some chew.
Marlboro Reds.
So like I look at this from a couple different angles. One, I really like this point of redefining what success is and taking a sense of your power back. Because a lot of times in this situation where like you treated me poorly, I'm trying to create this boundary, and this backfires a lot in family relationships, right? Because it turns out you're related to these people forever. You have way too many entanglements with them. There are going to be times that you would have tolerated them pretty well and you want to be around them, but you've made this big, fat, huge, like declarative choice as a reaction to their really toxic behavior. So it always is so messy. And this is why I think when I'm sitting with patients that are dealing with something similar, and many of them are at this time of year, one of the things we're talking about is I don't necessarily want you to put the person in timeout. I don't necessarily want you to say, they're out of my life, I'm excommunicating them.
Like a punishment?
I want to put behaviors in timeout, right? So in the same way that we raise our children in that way, or other situations where you have to you can't just quit somebody. You can't just divorce them or walk away from them forever.
I can't quit you.
I can't quit you. Brokeback Mountain reference complete.
Okay. Seriously, that is Laura's text tone when I text her.
Okay.
Yes.
Brokeback Mountain?
Yes.
vibes?
Just says, I can't quit you.
Yes. It's that line when I text her.
That is adorable.
I know.
That's really cute.
I know. I don't know
I guess it's
why.
weird that you're
You're
the
like,
one
I
that your
don't know how
brain
to
goes to
feel about
Brokeback
this.
Mountain.
Because we had been together for so long, and she's like, "You've never seen this
Yeah.
movie?" And is like, "No, I've never."
I love-
and it wasn't until last year
It's so
I finally
funny.
watched it.
Laura texts him. She's like, I just can't quit you. And he's like, I love you, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake, I mean, what?
Sorry.
Anyway, back to the story.
Yeah, but this idea of so when little kids are being naughty or whatever and they're misusing a toy, a lot of times they're saying, put the toy in timeout, right?
Right.
And so the same thing here. I want to put the behavior in timeout, which if I'm at Thanksgiving, if he starts misbehaving, if he starts being impolite and wrong, then I am going to walk up to mom and I'll walk up to sister and say, you guys have a lovely night. It's been so great seeing you. But I think I need to leave now. I've had enough of this, right? And then if you want to say that to dad or not, do it. But giving people this understanding of this behavior is unacceptable, and when you behave like this, you won't find me nearby.
Yeah.
That teaches them. And as much as we might say, hey, this human is stubborn and old and not going to learn new tricks, that's fine and all. But they also still won't walk into a library and start screaming. Mm-hmm. Because there are situations and contexts that they can understand. They can only behave certain ways. And that fundamentally is one of the things that we can have some amount of control over is, yes, removing yourself physically, pulling away, but I really like using those weapons strategically. When we just drop the nuke and we're just like, nope, you're dead to me, old man. We're done forever. Until the next literal holiday comes, or there's a hurricane, or your sister gets sick, or somebody has a baby, and then you're like, shit, now I have to undo the ultimatum or undo my declaration, and then there's this fear, exactly what the writer's talking about. Great, so now I'm showing that I'm a pushover. I'm showing that I'm validating you can do whatever you want. Just treat me any old way, and I'll show back up. Which is why I really like a more nuanced, sort of strategic use of the approach, where we're sort of evacuating as needed. And I get it, writer. What you went through was really, really difficult. Another thing in the note that I think is really important and something I think we can draw from old classic therapy on is this idea of Viktor Frankl wrote that book, Man's Search for Meaning. And one of his biggest takeaways from that book, and the thing that really became the center of his entire philosophy, was that whenever he was in Auschwitz, he realized the one thing he had control over was his attitude. Which sounds so small, it sounds like a cat poster, attitude's everything. But he was no, for real, these people could take my food, they could take my life, they could take my sleep, they could beat us, they could take my family, they did. The one thing though they could not control is how I choose to think, behave, and respond. They cannot choose my attitude. So he would whistle while he worked, and he'd find these ways to be sort of rebellious in that situation. And he talked about how that one personal freedom is what kept him alive, was this recognition that this is the one area they have no control over. And these are the actual Nazis, right? And so your father, as bad as he was...
is what Jim's saying.
Right, your father's a Nazi. And I'm saying that you can control only one thing, which is your attitude. And so you talk about that and you say, well, I'm scared to go to Thanksgiving because I'm fearful that my attitude will be poor and I don't want to be toxic to mom and to my sister. And I want to respect your level of insight and empathize that I think you have great understanding and I think you're aware of yourself. And I think it's totally fair that there are situations and people that trigger us and we're allowed to recognize that is an unsafe space for me and I don't trust me to be, appropriate. Totally get it, writer. And at the same time, I think there's a lot here to explore when we want to maybe get into more Viktor Frankl thinking and how he would unpack in logotherapy what we can do and what our ability is to control our attitude, even in a terrible situation or something really frustrating, like Thanksgiving with a toxic family member, which I think a lot of people relate to right now.
Absolutely. I think sometimes the negative attitude comes from feeling out of control too. You feel like you're at this other person's whim, kind of what you described a moment ago, Jim, like, oh, they just get away with this. And like you are kind of left as the victim, like the person that's sort of beat around, and then you're caring for your father by showing up for him when he needs you or when your mom or sister they need you. But I feel like a lot of that anger or resentment comes from feeling like I don't have control. So kind of what Nick was saying earlier, and then what you're like continuing to say is finding a way to discover your control and setting those boundaries and choices before you go into this situation is going to be super important to help adjust that attitude. Because you're like, all right, I got this. I got a plan. And if he does this, I do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know.
And to the extent that you can let others know that that's what you're going to do, or even if I don't know what the dynamic is of telling dad, but I like that idea of a boundary set to say, Dad, I have decided I will come. I accept your invite. I'll be there at Thanksgiving. But aside from the girls hearing us, I want to tell you to your face, if you get loud or if you get aggressive at me or you speak at me inappropriately, Dad, I'm going to leave. And I don't mind if that ruins your Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I also am not going to hide the fact that I left because of you. If you understand that, then I'll show up. And I think that if you can present it in a straightforward way, a lot of 75-year-old men will go, yeah, all right. Whatever.
No, because this guy says it's always everyone else's fault. So he'll just be like, well,
That's
why would
your
you leave
choice.
my Thanksgiving?
Well,
like,
Don't
I'm
deny
telling
me
you.
cigarettes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Don't start none, won't be none.
Fair.
It's a solid argument. I mean,
Fair.
Don't start
you know what?
no
You guys,
shit,
we're
won't
reading
be
this
no
letter the
shit.
wrong way. Let's get on Dad's side. I think Nick just brought up a really good point.
I'll play Nathan. Y'all play Dad.
I think we should really all
I
switch
just
teams.
want some fucking cigarettes.
I've never seen somebody quit being a Theraproducer faster. I wrote them a letter and they took the other guy's side.
I mean, I hate to tell.
I know, I
say
wanna
the
hear
writers. I hate to say it's his fault, but I mean,
I want to hear what
Yeah.
Tess thinks.
So Tess, y'all don't have Thanksgiving,
Yes, we do. We
You
have it
do?
in October, which is
You guys
better
are okay
because
with this? I'm looking around the room. You're all just
think
fine
about
with
it.
She
No, think
spits
about
on
it because
us.
we get turkey twice, but it's not like
Back to
right
back.
back to back.
Why
It's
do you have it a
spread out a
second
little
time?
bit.
Yeah, you'd
Christmas.
think he of all people would appreciate the separation of important events and important holidays and not
Right?
having them stacked on
How
top
dare
of each
you.
other.
Yeah.
I feel like you're hinting at my birthday.
we have decided to
Little
go
bit. Okay.
brisket
Yeah.
for Christmas.
Oh.
Go what?
Brisket.
Oh, I love
Oh,
I'm
hell
on
yeah.
that.
That's what we've
I'll be
decided.
at Jacob's
We've
for
decided to
Christmas.
go Christmas brisket
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
I'm on
with
that
a little
team.
crown of thorns
Yes. Oh, what?
Yep.
That took an odd
and a
turn.
manger.
So in Canada, is Thanksgiving as emotional as it is down here where we
No.
all hate each other and show up and break bread and
Oh, yeah, family stuff. The thing I wanted to bring up was that I actually have a very similar situation in my family.
Oh, wow.
Tell me your
To
thoughts.
that, I have actually pretty much removed my stepmother from my life,
Okay.
my dad's second wife, because I don't know what her problem is with me.
Do you buy her cigarettes?
No,
Oh.
that could be it.
I've got a
That
guess.
could be it.
Stands.
But we've always had a tension ever since they were dating and engaged and after they were married. I don't know really where it stems from, other than the fact that I don't think she takes kindly to the fact that I don't think of her as my mom.
Oh.
But I already have a mom.
How
Sure,
old
for sure.
were you when they got married?
I was an adult.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was a full-on adult.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
That
I'm
is weird.
on your side on that.
Yeah, it's super
weird.
I get it.
Like
Yeah.
my dad is married. He got married. He got remarried when I was in my late 30s,
Oh.
and
wow.
like I call his wife by her first name. We have
Right,
a lovely
yeah.
relationship, and that's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
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 So there's always been a tension between us, and we've actually had previous blowouts. As the writer mentions, there's been other instances in the past than this most recent car trip, and they've been little, they've been big, and it got to the point where anytime I was visiting family for Christmas, Thanksgiving, any kind of an event, Easter, whatever, I was walking on eggshells for fear of offending her and starting a fight that I had not meant to do. And I've even had a fight started when I thought the night went really well. I got a text later saying that you were very disrespectful for some reason.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You have a great night. And then all of a sudden you get a text like, hey.
Wow.
I thought
didn't
everything went
appreciate
well.
it.
Everybody was having a good time. And then
wow.
like the next morning I wake up to a text. So we had, how long's it been? A year and a half? About a year and a half. There was a huge blowout over something as simple as borrowing an electronic piano.
Oh, gosh.
That ended in her screaming at me on their front lawn
Yikes.
in front of my dad.
Oh, boy.
And I have not spoken to her or seen her since.
Are holidays an issue? Do you just not go?
It broke my heart because it means that I don't get to see my dad as much as I'd like to.
Okay.
And I'm very close to both of my parents. And so after that blow up, I went home. I had to stop the car because I just, it finally hit me about 5 minutes up the road, and Dustin's like, do you want me to drive? I was like, yes. And I wrote him an email and just said, look, my heart was broken, not for me, because I was ready to throw down, but
It breaks my heart that I have to beat the living shit out of your wife.
but my heart was broken for my dad because he's the guy stuck in the middle between his daughter and his wife. And I never, ever would have wanted him. And that's why I kept the peace for so long, because I
he
wanted
meant no harm.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
really relate to Nathan then.
So I completely relate
Wow.
to Nathan 100%. And it's true. They're not going to change.
Yeah.
And she literally later on told my dad, tell your dad to tell me that if I apologized, that
this shit.
we could go back to whatever. And my dad was like, well, he sheepishly brought this to me.
he knows what they're like.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And
He's the
so-
lawyer. He's like, I know my client is going to turn this down, but I'm obligated to bring it to their attention.
So, after the initial blow up, I sent an email, said, look, I'm not coming over anymore. We will figure out our relationship. There's nothing wrong with us, but I'm not going to be visiting with her
That
anymore.
woman.
With that woman. With her anymore. I'm taking myself out of this situation. I'm removing myself from the narrative.
Right.
And then he sheepishly brought me her quote unquote
For
negotiation.
terms of surrender.
Right.
If you just,
And I told him, I said, there's nothing that I have to apologize for. I did nothing wrong.
I do think that's really funny. I love the idea of like, if you apologize, I'll give you this. As in like who's gonna take that deal?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
just.
But that's
Honestly,
how I had
I
done it
would.
for years. And
Yeah.
like you said, Jim, like,
I was about to say,
There's-
Jim will take that deal every day and twice on Sunday.
oh yeah, and I'll tell you exactly how I would do it. My little defiant, like I'd be like, "Fuck this bitch," but then part of me would be like, "Okay." I'd go to ChatGPT and I'd be like, "Write an apology regarding these things," and then I would just like get the little paragraph, like copy paste, done, and then just be like, "Haha, that's my little like defiance." I didn't even really write it.
the
A
problem
robot
with
did,
that,
you idiot.
Defiance that only you are gonna know.
Yeah, that's my dirty little secret. And as we're eating turkey, I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, you like that turkey, don't you, idiot?" I'm not really apologetic.
But the problem with that is that then I'm putting myself into a situation that I'm no longer comfortable with.
Yeah,
and
for
I'm
sure.
not happy about, and I'm putting my own happiness underneath in order to walk on eggshells for this person.
Yeah.
So I understand where Nathan's coming from, because you're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
For
You want
sure.
to make peace with the family, and I've made it clear to the rest of my family, my sister, my mom, my dad, like, let's like for Christmas. Since then, my dad came over. We set a day,
Okay.
like the day before, like Christmas Eve or something, or the day after Christmas, that
Yeah.
he would come over, and him and my sister and I and Dustin,
Oh,
that's
we would do
cool.
a gift exchange, just us,
Good.
have a little dinner or something, and
Well, I like
instead of
that.
doing the family thing. So maybe that's an option, but I have to kind of vote for. If this has been an ongoing thing, which it sounds like it has, even since childhood,
Yeah.
Nathan mentioned
being
like some
abused,
abuse, that it might, this final, like the fight that I had, the blowout that I had, was the final straw.
Yeah.
I had made the peace and kept the peace and walked on eggshells for years.
Yeah.
And finally I was like, nope, you screamed profanities at me in the front yard in front of your neighbors and my father. I'm done.
I like your idea of there's a way to have an alternative holiday.
Yeah.
Where it can be like, hey, I'm not available to be around you, Dad. But I do want to, and that's what Nathan said in the letter too. Like Nathan didn't say, I really want to see Dad so bad. Like, no, I really want to see my sister, my mom. So I love the suggestion of like, there's a way to go visit with them separately, or to and to make a sacrifice along those lines, to say, hey, you guys can come to me. Why don't we do a Thanksgiving, breakfast or lunch?
And as adults, like when you're kids, it's harder. Like my dad and my mom split when I was 7. So for the longest part of our life, they were amicable. Mm-hmm. And so we would do family Christmases together. But by the time we turned like 18, they were like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore.
I don't have to.
Like I've spent enough years just making nice. But, like when you become an adult, like, yes, I understand for those who are of the religious side that Christmas is an important day. Mm. But we're a very secular family, so we're just like Christmas Eve, the Boxing Day. Who cares? Like it's important.
So fucking Canada.
It's important for the most important thing about Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter, like any of those holidays, for us, is being together.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And so because we're not worried about. Thanksgiving in particular, like I don't know how many people are putting a lot of stock between the history of Thanksgiving and getting together for a meal.
Apparently, I'm the only one in this room that cares about the history of Thanksgiving.
That's true.
We've clarified that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, if you have a meal the week before, the week after, a couple days later, it doesn't matter.
I like this idea. And I think that there's value to it, because even if long-term Nathan does reconcile or there's some kind of change in the relationship, if this all just kind of went down, I can appreciate saying, Dad, I'm going to let you feel this. I'm going to let you feel the natural consequences of your actions, with the hope that maybe down the road I do make a choice to give you an opportunity to show me differently. But if I don't allow you to experience the sting, nothing will change. And maybe nothing can change anyway, in which case I should go ahead and create space and come up with alternate ways for me to engage. And like that, me checking on you after a freaking natural disaster is not, an armistice. Like, it's not like, okay, everything's fine now. Like, no, we're family, dude. Like, you get hit by a car, I'm the emergency contact. I will show up. Make sure you're not drowning in your property. Like, I'm there. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I'm just, you have permission to treat me any old damn way. So I like that, Tess. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, keep us updated, Nathan. I'd love to hear a follow-up.
I know. How does Thanksgiving end up going?
You guys call it Thanksgiving?
Yes, Jim.
But it's in October. Don't act like I'm weird. You guys put it in another fucking month. You can't just do that. You can't just do that and be
Cultural
like,
competency.
Just early Thanksgiving. Whatever. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking about not being single, but wanting to mingle. You're listening to Pod Therapy After Dark.
Today's episode is brought to you by Judy Schneider, Leon Kassab, Carolyn Albert, Sammy Scoop, Sarah Smith, Mike Helm, Darren Cunningham, Matt and Lisa Tangeman, and Cody the DeLorean guy. And if you would like to sponsor the show, become a Theraproducer at patreon.com/therapy. We've got The Office trivia for you.
Hell yeah. I'm going to wreck you guys.
I love you.
True or false? This is a chair.
Hope it's a Microsoft
Tess,
Office.
Dustin, did you guys ever watch The Office?
I did a little bit. I haven't
Is
watched
this the
all
British
of it, so
Office, or-
my
This is the American.
knowledge
American.
is terrible.
Okay. All right. So,
All right.
okay, Dustin, you're with Jim.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You'll
Tess-
be my lifeline,
Tess,
buddy.
we'll put you with
Yeah.
Whitney.
Okay.
Girl
Come
power.
over
right.
here.
Well,
Yeah.
All right.
they own Whitney now.
3
so.
points
Yeah.
on the fly.
Are you in?
1 point multiple choice. I can't be in.
All right.
I tried to copy and paste these without looking at the answers, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
All right.
3 on the fly,
3
one
on the fly,
with option.
1 multiple choice, and we're going to one person at a time.
Okay.
So you're going to get a question.
Okay. Okay. I see.
Oh,
I see
okay.
where you're going
Yep,
with
yep,
this.
So
Yeah.
this.
Yep.
So question for Jim.
Round robin. Yeah.
Question for Jim.
Let's go.
What is the name of the video game Dwight plays in Branch Wars?
It's a spin on Second Life. It might just be called Second Life. I'm gonna go with Second Life for 3 points.
It is.
Fuck you, bitches! Give me those 3.
Okay, I thought I knew
It's
that.
really funny.
I was
I love
wrong.
it because Jim starts playing and he's like, I don't know if Dwight sells paper in Second Life.
It's exactly him, except he can fly.
Yeah,
That's
that was
only
the difference. That's right.
It's a pretty solid difference, actually.
Yeah, he's just an office guy.
Okay. Whitney,
Oh God. Okay.
what does Creed say he does at Dunder Mifflin?
This is the best.
I have no help. I'm
I always
sorry.
quote. That's true. I guess on the fly is 3 points, but there's multiple choice
Yeah.
options. I'll do multiple choice.
Quality assurance, sales, product manager, or I don't know.
I don't know.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gonna park on 1 point.
Yeah.
Jacob,
Yes, Nick.
which actor? Oh, this is I can't do that one. This is a multiple choice. It's yeah. I have to give you the. Can you name an actor from the show who was originally hired as a writer?
Ooh, I can.
Like,
I can too.
Half of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
We're all like,
a
yeah.
lot of them were.
Yeah.
Describe
What do you want? You want
You can take options.
character name or
gotta
No,
get the
actor
I have to
name.
give actor name?
Somebody who was hired as a writer,
Oh man.
originally
Take
hired
options.
as a writer.
Take options.
Wait, can I have options?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Give me options then.
Mindy Kaling,
Uh-huh.
Paul Lieberstein,
Uh-huh.
BJ Novak, or all of the above.
Oh, I think all of the above.
Yeah.
It is.
It is all of the
Yeah.
above.
Those are the 3. I think.
Okay, we'll go
Yeah.
one more each. Jim, what is Angela's favorite cat's name?
Oh shit! I need options.
Oh, I feel like I might know this one on the
Yeah.
fly.
Okay.
Here, I'm going to tell
It's like
Tess.
Mr.
in case-
something, but all right, give me options.
Oh, never mind. Maybe not.
Yeah, tell Tess right in the microphone. I want
That's
to hear
it. Good.
That would,
Good.
That would help
Smart.
me a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
is it Bandit,
Oh,
Sprinkles,
that was.
Comstock, or Garbage?
Yeah, give me sprinkles.
It is Sprinkles.
I was
Thanks,
gonna
Whitney, you
guess sprinkles.
dummy.
You're welcome. I couldn't resist that one.
Garbage was a cat, though.
That's
Garbage
solid,
was.
yeah.
I don't
Garbage
remember that
was
one.
the cat
My
that
favorite
Dwight got her
is when
to replace the
there's
one he
like the
killed.
fire and she
Yeah,
throws
she
it up in
throws-
the ceiling.
And it falls through.
Sprinkles.
Nope, that was Bandit.
Oh, that was Bandit.
Oh, that was Bandit.
Oh, Bandit. Oh.
Okay. All right, Whitney.
Oh, that's a good show.
In the Diversity Day seminar, which race does Michael write on Pam's forehead?
Oh, I remember this.
It's. I feel like it's either Jewish or Chinese. Anyway, sorry. I guess options then.
Indian, Jewish, Italian, or Asian?
No, I think it's Indian. Shit, I can't remember if it's Indian or Jewish. Do
On
you know?
whose forehead?
Pam's.
Like the card someone else is trying to
Yeah.
guess.
After she guesses, can I do the clues?
Yes.
I think it's.
Nick, after she guesses, can
I
Jim
don't
just
know.
recite
I'm no
lines
help
from
for
the
that.
I know,
television show?
sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's Indian. I don't know. I'm just gonna guess.
It is
Indian.
not.
It's
It is
not
Jew.
Indian. Then she's like struggling. And it's like, all right, so based on your card, some people would unfairly say you're not good at driving. And Dwight's like, a woman.
Yes, I can remember that. Oh,
It was
Chinese.
no, it was Italian. It wasn't Asian.
No, I thought it was
Oh.
Asian.
No.
Dwight
Yeah,
thought-
all of it.
Dwight was Asian.
Dwight was afraid that
Dwight.
his
Yeah.
woman.
Dwight's was Asian, and based on that clue, he was afraid
Yeah.
that he was a woman.
That's it.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Am I a woman?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen the show.
All right,
yeah. I was like, Jacob's putting up a farce over there.
Jacob.
I crushed the Disney trivia. Let it be
I
shown.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Let the record show.
Nailed that.
What was the name of Jan's assistant at her corporate job?
I just
Oh,
watched
yeah.
this.
Oh man, I know I'll know it if I hear it.
Yeah.
Because he had
I know
he had the CD.
Yes.
Yes, I just watched this episode
Oh
like
my
a week ago.
God.
Whitney, you helped Jim. Help
I
me.
did.
Oh, is it? Are you saying Gunner?
Oh, close.
That's close. It's somebody who she's holding up his deer head.
I don't. Hunter.
There
It's
you
Hunter.
go.
It is Hunter.
Wow, well, let's not play charades.
Yeah, I know, Jesus.
All right.
You just like held up a gun.
I did. I aimed.
And a deer
then I
head.
held up the deer head.
It's so weird that you're packing heat in the podcasting studio.
Yeah, my gun. I'll put
We
it
should have
back.
just mimed it, and I would have just
All right.
had the deer.
Close
flat on
game.
the
I think that
floor
means we're all
after you shot.
tied, right?
Nick,
I
you
think we're
need to
tied
give
up.
me
Sure.
their question.
Feels good. All right, next question. Not single, but wanting to mingle from University Jeff.
All right, Nickel, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's all you have to
Hello.
do is ask.
Yeah,
Yep.
and pay. And
very
pay.
giving.
I take the money for Nick, though. I'm his
Not much.
pimp.
It's reasonable. It's basically
Yeah.
just covers
It's
gas.
a modest amount.
Gas money.
And tip.
That's all.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
tip optional.
Now I'm singing is
He has an
Hunter's
iPad he
song.
spins around. Anyway, hello, Pod Therapy friends, Dr. Jacob, Mr. Jim, Whitney, and the other guy. Nathan, I think was his name. Looking forward to my interview with him eventually. I hear that your reservoir of questions is nearly empty, so I'm coming out of my lurker hole to answer the call. Over the summer, I started going on dates again, seeing where things went, and eventually having to make a choice to be exclusive with one of two wonderful ladies. Not an easy decision to make, and I likely hurt one of them when I chose the other. I do not like knowing that I likely caused a woman to cry into her pillow, likely for several days after telling her I could not see her anymore. In September, Bethany and I decided to be exclusive, agreeing not to see anyone else and making it Facebook official, calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend, the whole 9 yards. Things have been all right overall. Bethany and I went on some fun dates where we floated the river, made dinner at her place, and the sex is pretty good, if not a bit vanilla for me.
Write
She
us
and
in
I-
and tell us more about that.
Yeah, I think that we just need to pause there and I would like Appendix
Background
A.
music.
Yeah, thank you.
What was that, Whitney?
Whitney's porn theme music should be its own thing,
Just
like
her
just
intro.
a track.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so great. The show starts with just drops of Whitney
Whitney
doing
going,
porn.
I told y'all you could have my skills.
You know what? I hate our intro so much. I'm fine. I'm fine with
You're
that.
welcome.
Just give me a new intro.
Yeah, exactly.
Pew, pew. She and I have similar goals in life, wanting to have a nice garden, being active in the community, having hobbies we enjoy separately from each other as well as together. And she also wants to go into town or live in the town where I hope to live long term. She works from home as an accountant, has her own home in a town of about 30 minutes away, doesn't want kids, and decided to go back to school to get her bachelor's degree because her work is going to pay for it. She's attending the very university where I work, albeit online. Quite the dream. While I'm very happy with Bethany, I can't seem to stop fantasizing about relationships with other women. Some of them are friends of mine who I've played volleyball with for 2 years and have had crushes on since I met them. Others I just see around town. College towns are unfortunately full of beautiful people in their early to mid-20s, and they're all too young for me since I'm pushing 40. Hey, fuck you. And some have even slid into my DMs, being very bold in pursuing me, despite me saying that I have a partner. The last kind of person has really mangled up my feelings. I attribute this to never feeling wanted in past relationships or where being pursued feels so different than pursuing someone else. I don't think I've ever really known what it feels like to be wanted or desired in this way, as I've always felt like I convinced people to date me rather than them wanting me for who I am. That is likely some trauma I need to work through. This last person even shared some of the kinkier things she wants to do with me, and they are things that I'm really into. Cue Whitney.
Meow, meow, meow. I've been feeling good, baby. I don't even know the words.
She reminds me of Stan's dad from fucking South Park. Ooh, yeah, that's it. Oh, working hard on a Wednesday.
I do make up songs around my house.
Whitney,
So.
what song do you think you're singing?
I don't know the name of it. Otherwise, I'd probably know the words.
It's a porn anthem number 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, Lord.
From all the porn I've been watching.
There it is.
Lord,
I have a
Lord.
feeling that some of this comes from me being single for so long and chasing after a partner. Has being single for so long caused a shift in my brain? I am the proverbial dog that caught the car, not knowing what to do next. Does the desire for other people make me just a regular human, or do I need to find a way to suppress these feelings, for lack of a better word? Any advice and help would be very welcome. Thanks, University Jeff.
Nope, you're regular. You're fine. Next question.
Done.
Easy
Trivia.
peasy.
I mean, I feel like this is normal, right?
Relatable.
I feel like I
relatable.
wrote this letter.
All right, Tess.
Leave the room, Dustin.
Go on.
University
Yeah, Whitney,
test.
start the music. Nick, turn down the lights.
Whatever. I mean, you guys. I mean, those of you who know me know my scoop name is Slightly Slutty Scoop. But
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
so yeah, I've had my
Just
days.
slightly.
But the relationship thing, I've always wondering if you've tricked people into being
Right,
in a relationship with
right,
you.
yeah.
Wow, I was like, did I write this?
Well, and I think that's such a profound part of this letter that I think a lot of people do really relate to. Like, this is something I hear all the time. And I think, you know, a lot of men especially will share that is really profound for them. And when I've seen there be affairs or challenges to relationships where the man has sort of been tempted, to the side, a lot of times I'll see the female partner and they're very confused about it. And like, I don't get it. Like, where did this develop? What was the key thing? And sometimes the guy is really baffled too. And it's like, I don't even know what it is. But when we drill into it therapeutically, a lot of times what we discover is somebody just really liked you and pursued you and desired you, and that is really unfamiliar to you. And I've seen all these different studies on like what is attractive, and one of the things that seems to float to the top on the psychological scales, just desiring me. If you just are really into me and like you're convinced of it and you know why, I need. You're fascinating all of a sudden, right? Because there's not a lot of you, and like you're the one who's really into me, and like that suddenly makes you so much more attractive. And you stand out. And now, like, I'm obsessed with you. Why can't I stop thinking about you? And, like, I can appreciate for Jeff that is a very relatable thing. And we see that in therapy a lot, especially in couples therapy and in affair recovery.
I mean, I can relate to that. I remember just like even in high school, like I'd hear a rumor that some girl liked me.
Right.
And I was never
You know what?
interested.
They are cute.
Didn't even know her
Then,
name.
yeah, then now all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, yeah,
Right.
she's beautiful.
By fifth period,
And
Nick
then
has her name on his binder.
No, then I find out that no, is the other Nick, and then is
There's more than one Nick at your
That's the fucking
yeah,
worst,
believe
buddy.
it or not.
Oh, I'm
Hard to
sorry,
believe.
man. My heart breaks for you. That happened to me. There was another Jimmy in third grade, that son of a bitch. And all the girls liked him, and I'd always be waiting because they'd always be talking like, oh, Jimmy this. He'd be like, please be me for once. It was never me because he was fast. He was so fast, and it was so important in third grade to be fast.
That's
Yeah.
true.
He could run so fast.
Very true.
I mean, still kind of important.
Fuck.
Especially if something's chasing you.
I'll bet he is still
I mean, in
faster
third
than me.
grade, it's important to be fast because you're less likely to get caught in quicksand.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
common.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta
Very
be ready.
common. Very
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can relate to that too. Like just when I got divorced and I was single
Right.
for the
Oh,
first
that's a good
time.
point. You're
Yeah.
like flipping.
Yeah, because it's like I had very low self-esteem. I always thought I was the.
I thought you were about to
reacher.
say standards.
No. I always felt like I was the reacher in that relationship.
Uh-huh.
I felt like she was the settler.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And then
Yeah.
then when that marriage ended, then I just very low confidence. And then when you find out that
Right.
like, oh no, some women
Right.
are attracted to a guy with a face like this. Then it's like,
Blind
oh, wow,
ones.
this is, I know.
A face not just a mother could
Hey, people
love.
drink Malort, bro.
That's true.
that's a flavor.
If people can drink the Lord, there's
They got-
somebody
they
out
got a
there
choice.
interested.
There's so many nearsighted people out there.
But no, that really is a thing. And I think, not to get too into the gender stereotypes again, but like for a lot of men, they're not used to hearing compliments.
Yeah.
They're not used to
Yeah.
hearing many people be kind. And so whenever, like for Jeff, you suddenly open up your DMs and somebody's like,
To be
hey,
pursued.
you're great. And it's like, thank you. That doesn't happen very often. They're like, okay, you're not getting the hint. I want to do dirty things to you. And
Yeah.
it's like, that doesn't happen a lot. It's like, okay, but no, but wow, thank you. Like,
Yeah.
I feel
It happened
great.
to me last week.
Jesus.
And I was on fucking cloud nine.
Hell yeah. You're like,
I was sitting in a bar with a friend in a casino, so like a casino bar in it was in the Cosmopolitan, and friends were in town, and we were sitting there, and like me and my buddy were just sitting there at the bench, we're chatting, we're not paying attention to anybody else, and this woman walks over and hands me a business card, and goes, and apparently there was a big tech convention or something that was there, and so they were all like at this bar. And so woman comes over and hands me a business card and is like, my coworker wanted me to come hand this to you. Have a good night, but give her a call.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm good for the year.
Turns out to be a pyramid. I hope it turned out to be a pyramid scheme, though. Yeah. Because just like, have you ever wanted to be your own boss?
That'd be a great end of the story. I just called the number.
Can your steak knives cut through a rope?
No, one try. One try. Coming up to room 428.
You want to know what the world looks like through a tomato?
I was like, no.
You could just be your own boss, man.
So, I mean, for
Go
like
as high as you want.
So for Jeff, is the idea here that like he should kind of filter through that and like really kind of look at, are you interested in this person?
Right.
Or are you just interested in the idea of being
or does it just feel good to be attractive?
Yeah.
Like, it could just feel good to be attractive and have people be like, hey, that person's attractive.
Well, I kind of look at it like this, Jeff. So I think the dilemma you're facing, and it sounds like you've also been a friend of the show for a long time, and you've also given us some great letters about your dating life and about some of the ups and downs you've had. So we've kind of been eating popcorn and watching your romantic life now for a long time.
Speaking of which, are you going to pass the box of chocolates?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, buddy. Let me get those over to you.
Yeah.
It's just been sitting there for
I was wondering, I'm like, is Nick going to eat any of his chocolates?
Yeah, he brought them. But, Jeff, I appreciate your question because the way I read it, given your historical context and relationships, I think you're very legitimately saying, look, I'm in a great relationship. I made a decision for this. She's my dream girl, as you kind of outline. But you're expressing this sense of sincere confusion because you're saying, well, if that's all true, why am I, so quickly tempted? Why am I being, made to feel my heart fluttering whenever there's somebody, interested in me? And I guess I want to look at that with you, Jeff, and I want to, one, agree with everybody else and normalize that the heart flutter thing is so common and so relatable. And because of that, we need to be really mindful not to follow that away from what is on paper and in a felt way a really good thing. And the comparison that I would give you here, just off the top of my head, would be like a job. Like you're interviewing, you're trying to find a good job. You finally get down to some good options. You land on one. You get into this job and you're doing great at it. And you're like, wow, this is great. It's a great fit. Everything's cool. But then a recruiter calls you and they're like, hey, we have got our eye on you, Jeff. You're the man. We would love to have you over here. And it's so flattering to hear that. But then if you do switch teams again, one, if that becomes your life philosophy of constantly taking the next bidder, you're always going to enjoy the high of being flattered. Mm-hmm. You're never going to enjoy the satisfaction of real, genuine, long-term connection. To get to those levels that are deeper in a relationship, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it takes longevity. It takes commitment. And so you're always going to be going to the next one, the next one, the next one. And I just think that at some point you're going to have to really say, this is a great choice. I need to stick to this in order to access the better things that are very rare to access in a relationship that I think come with being in one long term. So if I'm hearing you say, look, my relationship is great. I'm feeling my heart flutter being talked to like this, and it makes me emotionally confused. Should I trust the flutter versus the fact of my relationship? I vote fact. I say stick to this relationship. You describe it in glowing terms.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot of relationship shopping, Jeff. We've been hanging in there with you for a long time, and I'm so happy that you found somebody because you deserve to be happy, buddy. And I think that this sounds like a great relationship. I'd hate to see you walk away from somebody that slipped into your DMs.
Yeah, that was a little bit the angle I was going to go at, almost like gratitude, just appreciating and recognizing and remembering all the things you do have in this relationship. Sometimes that can win out over that exciting new little dopamine spike you get when it's like, oh, someone flattered me or flirted with me. Absolutely, that feels great. I don't know if you can with your partner, go home and tell them that. Feel like this was really fun today. Someone flattered me and it made me really excited. I do that with Peter. Someone hit on me at the bar. I'm like, he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, I went right home and gave that card to SJ.
What'd you say, Tess?
Someone told me I looked like Amy Adams again.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Peter was there. I'm like, hey.
This is my friend Peter.
I know, my friend. I just met him a few minutes ago.
Get out of here,
Swivel
Peter.
that ring around.
Now, when it goes the other way, are you like that bitch?
No, I am so flattered when someone flirts with my husband. I'm like, hell yeah.
Okay.
He's a piece. He's a dime.
Good for you.
Jeff, these people are idiots.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that right now. Yeah. Every piece of advice you've gotten thus far, Jeff, ignore it completely.
Aww.
It's a fun life to just be pursued all the time. That's a good time.
Wait, I didn't say don't be pursued.
That swingers
I'm
movie.
like, wait.
Just go out there and roll, be the Rolling Stone. But I think there's something legitimate to this. Like, and I understand this. The grass is greener mentality is always going to be there, especially when Jeff's like, look, our sex life is kind of vanilla, and then it's tough because when a person shows up offering the one thing you're missing, this is tricky. And in couples therapy, this is something we talk about a lot, is like needs inventories, where we try to get people to understand, like, just like human needs, like you need air, water, food. If you take away any one of those for too long, it starts to threaten your health, right? And it's like you can't fix hunger with more air, right? Or more water. Like the food needs to be provided at some point. And so sometimes in relationships, this can happen where there's a need and we're not truly seeing it as a need. We're just thinking it's like, oh, well, that would be nice, but no big deal. But then too much time goes by with that need being unaddressed. And then what we say in couples therapy is the relationship becomes vulnerable to an external influence, right? And so like that's where I think, Jeff, at this point in your relationship, if you're finding that you're so easily tempted by somebody who's saying, hey, I will, put on a ski mask and hit you like a piñata, then you need to be able to go to your woman and say
that again, but slower.
Yeah.
It's like
And
Jim's
look me in the eyes when you say
familiar
it.
with this.
I have the internet. There it is.
Is that what it sounds like on the internet?
You nailed it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's that's the entire soundtrack.
Yeah.
Depends on what you're in the mood for, I guess. But no, I mean, I would want you to sit with your partner and not necessarily say, hey, there's other people out there, they want me. Which, again, as much as Whitney, I think, is presenting this idea of like, oh, yeah, girls don't care. Whitney's the outlier. Not every
I do
woman can
think that
handle
might
finding out
be
that like your
true.
dude is being flirted with.
I am realizing that. I should put an asterisk by
Also
that.
because men often don't know how to express it. Like if we say, oh, this girl flirted with me, it kind of sounds like I'm threatening you. It kind of sounds like, oh, just by the way, somebody hit me up and said they want to do butt stuff.
I was like, threatening.
I've seen that happen where it's like,
Whenever Jim tells his wife about a woman that flirted with him, he's holding a bat.
yeah.
That could be it. What
are you gonna do about it?
His wife just laughs and laughs.
But no, I get, there are situations.
Don't make me have our son beat you up.
Where somebody will tell their partner, man or woman, oh, I got flirted with today. And the subtext to that is people are into me.
Hey, just so you know, I still
Just so
got
you
it.
know, the
Got
market
options.
value's
That
good.
is the underlying tone.
Yeah.
I get offers, right? It's
always
in my
Peter's underlying
opinion, it
tone.
is of all the spectrum of relationships, I think it's a rarer minority of relationships that have that extra security or some kind of special ingredient that they really genuinely do not feel threatened at all, and they
Yeah.
don't take it in any kind of way. I think the majority are on a spectrum where to some extent it feels threatening or there's a subtext or a message to it. And so that gets tricky, Jeff, because I wouldn't want you to come up to your partner and say, hey, just so you know, somebody offered me butt stuff and we should talk about how I realized I want butt stuff. Like, that's
Why?
not the way I want you to have the
Is that a
conversation.
problem?
But if you notice this is how you're feeling, I want you to sit down
Yeah.
with your partner and say, hey, I just want to keep talking about how to grow, right? I want to keep talking about, I don't
Sure.
want to believe that this relationship has landed at its eternal state. I want us to be a couple that's getting to know each other and meeting each other's needs as we're changing. And I want to talk more about some areas of me and my desires that maybe I haven't really talked about before, or maybe in the past I've gotten the signal that maybe you're not very interested in. And I want to make sure that there's space to talk about that.
Yeah, I do feel like Peter and I have grown to that place. We've
Yeah. Butt
been
stuff.
together, for 17 years or something crazy. So, yeah, if you're new in a relationship, I don't really recommend just going and telling people, yeah, this person flirted with me, or I want to do the butt stuff that you mentioned you liked. Anyway.
Although I do want more examples of kinky sex from Jim.
Yeah.
Because so far we've had butt
is
stuff
great.
and suspension rig with like a pinata.
Yeah, that was a fun
Those
one.
have been Jim's examples thus far.
It's very experienced.
It's very important that you also have the fanny pack of candy that you toss on certain hits, but not all of them. You got to make them earn it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I think that
I want Jim to write another book.
Jim's Kama Sutra.
different book.
Oh, I thought it was going to be fanny pack of candy.
That's the name of his autobiography.
It's a chapter in the sutra.
That's just a tip in the sutra.
Get a fanny pack.
The Jim Sutra.
Sutra.
But I think that you get to a point where you can be really open with your partner and trusting by having those conversations you mentioned, Jim.
Yeah.
Not the butt stuff one, but
Okay. Yeah.
No, but talking about like, hey,
Although don't do that without having a conversation first.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
Don't just
about
spring
the
that
butt
on them
stuff.
either.
yeah,
Nobody
that's
wants
good life
surprise
coaching
butt
advice.
stuff.
And more lube than you think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also,
No.
random tool that you can use. Tool seems to be an intimidating word.
Everything's
Assessment.
intimidating to Jim tonight.
Assessment. There's several websites, but one of them is called Mojo Upgrade, and I've referenced it years ago on the show. But it's really good for couples if they're ever saying, "I think I want to explore kind of what our sexual interests are, but I'm
Yes,
shy,
great.
or I'm scared that I'm going to tell you I'm into something, and then you're going to hear that and have a moral opinion about that or a character opinion. It's going to change the way you feel about me." Mojo Upgrade's a neat way that you and your partner can indicate anonymously on this one form. Here's what I'm into.
I remember this. This was a good idea.
It's a really neat one.
This
and
was
so
the last
you
time
do
Jim
it
had a good idea.
individually. It's been years. You do it individually, and there's like a link that's shared between you, and then it reveals only the results that you had in common. And so if one person said, "Hell yeah, let's do the piñata thing," and the other one said, "I would never do the piñata thing,"
But there's
then
also a
whenever
middle
you get your
ground too,
synthesized,
right?
yeah,
Like,
there's
maybe
you can pick no, you can pick I would do it if my partner was into it. You can pick yes, I'd like to, and then there's like a hell yes. And so it'll show you everything that you
Piñata.
scored agreed.
Pinesta.
Yeah. And so like if you say I would only do this if my partner was into it, and the other person says I would only do this if my partner was into it, it will not show up on the result. Because it
Okay.
can tell nobody wanted to advocate for that.
Gotcha.
But if there's anybody that's, an agreed
But if somebody's
upon yes,
advocating for it and somebody says,
Yes.
I would if my partner's into it,
it'll
then that's
show
going to pop up.
But it won't tell you who said what.
Gotcha.
So you won't even know how into it your partner was. It will just show up as these things are on the menu.
Yeah.
If you guys would like to talk about it. And that way, if there was something on there that you were embarrassed by or you were nervous about, it doesn't show up. So that, Jeff, can be a way to, continue to grow this relationship. But that would be my advice to you. If you're feeling kind of itchy, lean in first, and see if we can find a way to expand the relationship. Maybe she's cool with meeting all these girls that are DMing. Maybe we can bring that into the relationship.
You don't know till you ask.
You don't know
What
till
does
you
Tess
ask.
think about this?
These are really questions that are hitting home for me. We just,
Right into that mic, Tess.
Sorry,
There you go.
There
we
you
just recently have had some conversations about that sort of similar thing of opening up about different things you'd be interested in sexually. Sorry, honey.
It's okay.
Pod therapy after dark.
I legitimately warned him before he came. It's like if they put me on mic, I might say stuff that embarrasses you. But I wish we had that conversation sooner. So I think it is a really important conversation to have
Yeah.
because when we had that conversation, I think I said to you, I was like, why didn't you tell me this before?
Right,
yeah.
right.
Because I'm down.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
We could have
sure.
been enjoying this longer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And he Jeff says that sex is kind of vanilla, but that she could be shy. She
Sure.
maybe thinks she's gonna intimidate him and doesn't want to bring it up. You never know. So
Especially when things are going good. You may not want to
Exactly.
rock
Right.
the boat.
No reason to change it. It's working.
Yeah, because you're not gonna, depending on what kind of community you're in, you're not gonna
Right.
be breaking out the piñata on day one.
The peen. You're putting the
That
peen
was
in the
awesome.
piñata.
There it is.
Piñata.
T-shirt idea.
You're not gonna break that out on date number one.
Right.
Not with that attitude.
But if you didn't buy Jim's
Jake,
I
Sutra,
said
Speak for
depending
yourself.
depending on
The
the
Piñata Sutra.
people that you
I mean, the
associate with.
rigging alone for the piñata,
Yeah.
you can't just take that down and put it up anytime you want.
Yeah.
You got to
Plus-
plan for that
You
stuff.
kind of have to have a separate room for it.
Yeah, you need a piñata
Yeah.
room.
And Vegas is a union town, so you're paying
Exactly.
prevailing wage.
Yeah.
I mean, OSHA, so many pieces.
But yeah, it's an important conversation to have because it really could it could be that maybe it is something that's negotiable, maybe it's
Right.
not, and then if it's not, then that's something that you have to look at.
Sure.
Is it something that you are just sort of like, well, yeah, all right,
Can I
whatever.
live without it?
Doesn't
Or
matter.
is this that
Or-
important to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I really like the idea of addressing the relationship first. I think again, we want to normalize that what you're feeling is real and it doesn't necessarily imply that you're maybe not a good relationship person. That's way too much of a conclusion to judge from this. It is so flattering. It's so exciting. being desired is the number one most attractive trait that another person can have. It's just they like you. That is everything. So
That's the
I
other
just think,
thing.
yeah.
I develop crushes like all the time.
Okay.
All the time.
Right.
And
somebody opens the door for you at the bank and you're like,
oh, he's cute.
I'm Tess.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I have.
So
I
nice
have,
to meet you.
Yeah.
What are you doing later?
I fall fast and hard. I
Yeah.
definitely have crushes all the time. Do I act on them?
Right.
No.
But you can feel
But,
that energy
yeah,
and go,
you get that
"Woo."
little like, ooh.
Yeah.
But
I like that point, Tess, because knowing yourself is
Yeah.
very vital. And if this is something Jeff needs to learn about himself and realize, okay, I get butterflies fast. That's something I know about me. And as Jeff said, that could be based on my past. That could be based on trauma. That could be based on internal needs I have. Don't always trust that to the point of action.
Yeah.
Just acknowledge it and feel it. That's huge too.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's not
Yeah.
controlling your life. Anyway, Jeff, good luck with the pinata butt stuff. We're excited for it. Look for my upcoming book.
Combination.
Yeah, I mix the peanut butter with the chocolate, man.
There
You
you
don't know
go.
what you're going to get.
Oh my gosh.
It's exciting stuff. We're going to take
That's
a quick
what it
break.
looks like.
I'm just excited for all the people. I
couldn't help
Lord. Excited for all the people that just started listening to the show after, finding out about us on another podcast.
Yeah.
And then,
Wait,
what
that's
the
happening
fuck
after
is
this one, right?
No, they've heard the interview and then come to this episode.
Oh, well, that seems
Welcome,
silly.
everybody.
A lot of new listeners.
Fun. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking about your therapist being in another state. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Judy Schneider, Leon Kassab, Carolyn Albert, Sammy Scoop, Sarah Smith, Mike Helm, Jaron Cunningham, Matt and Lisa Tangeman, and Cody the DeLorean Guy. If you would like to sponsor the show, become a Theraproducer at patreon.com/therapy. Office
Do it.
trivia. Do it. Okay, Jim,
From The Office.
what is the title of Michael's movie?
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Zero. Oh, is it Zero Dark 30? Oh, shit. Oh. No, something midnight, dark midnight, midnight, zero, dark midnight. Fuck.
Oh, I think that's it.
Oh, it's something like that.
Zero.
Give me the options. God damn it. I'm going to be so pissed I missed out on the two.
Yep, you're going to have one because A, Threat Level Midnight.
That's it, yeah.
Do you need to hear the rest of them?
No, we're done.
I want to hear the rest of them. What are the others?
Agent Skarn, Danger Express, Saber Wars.
Good. I'm glad none of the others were better.
Yeah.
Whitney,
Okay.
what is Stanley's favorite day at work?
Favorite day at work?
Buzz.
Why do you know all of
You want
these?
to buzz it on him?
I need options.
Pretzel Day,
Oh,
Payday, Casual Friday, Christmas Party.
pretzel day.
It's definitely
It is
pretzel,
pretzel
day.
day.
Yeah. See, these are, I'm like, I've watched The Office enough. I feel like once I have the options, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
Except for the Pam one, I didn't know.
That's so
That
funny.
was hard.
All right, Jacob,
Come on.
what song?
They both had to get question or options on this
Yeah, are
one.
you going to pull a 3-pointer?
What song does Andy sing during his Cornell admissions interview?
Oh, shit. There's a lot of those songs that he sings.
There's a lot of.
I don't know. What are the options?
Faith by George Michael, Drift Away by Dobie Gray,
Ooh. this is
Closer
hard.
to Fine by Indigo Girls, or Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. It might be that one.
I think he sings all of these.
That's what I was going to say.
He
I feel like he
definitely
sings
does
the first
Faith.
two.
He
Yeah.
definitely does Faith.
Because Stephen Colbert was in that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Broccoli raw.
Broccoli.
yeah.
I'm telling you. The random bit.
I'm gonna go Denver. I'm gonna go John Denver.
It was Closer to Fine by Indigo Girls.
Oh.
I wouldn't have gotten that one.
Okay.
That was hard.
Jim. Where does Jim propose to Pam?
Oh, shit. I
Buzz.
want to go on. All right, I'm going to take a shot on it.
They just
Because I
finished
know
the
I'll do it
pinata.
if I get the options.
Oh,
They just
okay.
finished the pinata scene. I think it's In the Rain on, I think it's like a street or a sidewalk or getting out of a car or like about to get out of a car. But I feel like I'm going to need to be more specific. If I just say
yeah.
In the Rain in a city, I think that they're like doing the commuting back and forth thing where New York and Philly or wherever she lives or fuck. Give me options because I guess I need to figure out how it's phrased.
At Dunder Mifflin, at Pam's Art Show, at a gas station in New York City.
Thank you, Whitney.
Whitney is terrible at this.
I'll just answer them all.
cannot
I can't
help
it.
She cannot help herself.
Good point, Jim.
I'll take
Way
gas
to go.
station
welcome.
for infinity points. Thank you.
Okay, finally, Whitney.
All right, I'm not going to know this one.
How great would it be, though, if Whitney was just feeding Jim raw answers?
Next time.
All right. What did Pam's fiance Roy leave at poor Richard's pub, causing a scene?
Ooh,
I have no clue. What are the options?
His wallet, his coat, his cell phone, his engagement ring.
His engagement ring?
You think that would cause a scene?
But no, because they were already engaged.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
he
weird.
left it at the bar, which was like, why was it off?
Oh, but it was her ring?
No, it's his.
He had an engagement
Okay,
ring?
don't listen to him.
I can't trust. I'm going to say engagement ring because Jim's
I've been
winking
trying
at
to
me.
help you.
I know.
Come on, girl.
Engagement ring.
I got you.
His wallet.
Oh, yeah.
You dummy.
I don't remember this episode.
I don't
I
either.
vaguely do. It was an early one.
Yeah.
Why would that cause an issue if he
Well,
left his
go back
wallet?
and watch it.
I got
All right.
it.
By
Last
the way,
one.
we used to watch The Office on just like
Yeah.
binging well before you could binge on the streaming stuff.
You
on
got the
tour.
DVDs? Oh.
Like on tours, we
yeah.
had the DVD players
Yes.
on the bus and everything, and we would just burn through The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, Netflix, when they did the DVD
Yeah.
send out.
I-
yeah.
So I watched The Office from Paris to Boston Logan.
Oh, that's what this is.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
this is. And I'll tell you what.
I wondered why this popped up.
That flight felt like it was 30 minutes. Like it went by
Office,
so fast. All right. What is the name of the janitor Dwight befriends in the episode The Alliance? The name of the janitor Dwight
That's the janitor at
befriends.
Dunder Mifflin, right?
Yeah, I think
There really
so.
isn't one. There's a security guard.
Yeah.
The security guards who I'm thinking of too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Take the options.
All right, give me the options.
Hank.
That's it.
Lonnie.
That's a
It's Hank.
security
It's Hank.
guard.
Hank's
Oh.
the security guard, though.
It is not.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
So keep going. Lonnie, you said?
Hank, Lonnie, Glenn, Todd.
I don't remember the Alliance,
Sounds
apparently.
right.
Oh, yeah, I
Glenn?
do remember this. No, wait, no, I don't. Never mind.
I don't remember any janitor.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Glenn.
Oh.
All right.
There
I
you
don't
go.
remember this
That's
episode
right.
either.
I don't either.
That was a good question, Nick.
Yep.
Glad that was in there.
You're welcome.
Great.
Couldn't help you, Jacob.
Last
Sorry.
question for the show. Therapist is in another state, from Anonymous. In the past, you've talked a bit about how most therapists are licensed for the state they're working in, or maybe have licenses in multiple states and can work in any of the states they are licensed in. From your show, I understand that taking clients out of state could be a problem because it leads to issues like which licensing board a patient can or should go to if they needed to report an ethical problem. I know someone who was visiting from out of state. Their therapist said they were not supposed to practice if the patient left the state, but if it was a short trip, any video therapy session, maybe you could just be in a different room that I haven't seen yet, letting the patient know what the rules are, implying what sort of lie of omission the patient would need to commit to in order to obtain therapy. It doesn't seem right, but if only done occasionally, there's probably no real harm. I just started working with a new therapist from a new practice in my town through video conference sessions. It's hard nowadays to find anyone doing face-to-face sessions, it seems. At the end, they gave me her office phone and to send text messages if I needed to get in touch with her. Then they commented that they are in the Central Time Zone. The closest towns in the Central Time Zone are nearly 1,000 miles from me. They assured me that they were licensed in my state and love all of their patients from my state, but they've moved elsewhere. So, are the rules for which state the therapy occurs set in the state the patient is in? The state, or is it the state that the doctor is in, or therapist? There seems like there is a philosophical argument about where the therapy occurs. Is it what the therapist says or hears, or what the patient sees, hears, and thinks? Any issues can be brought to to my state's board. For all the combinations where the therapist is licensed, where the therapist resides, and where the patient resides, which combinations are allowed or not? Thanks, Anonymous.
This is a fun one. I'm licensed in 2 states. So,
What's the other state?
Oregon.
Your mom. Delirium. So why'd you get the second license?
Actually, the insurance company, the Evil Dark insurance company I worked for, they were having trouble hiring people in Oregon because of what you can do in Oregon with your licensure. There's no motivation to work at the insurance company. Or I think what was happening was you don't need a clinical license to be a therapist there. So people don't go get their clinical license. So the insurance company I worked for is like a national company, and they cover insurances in all different states, almost every single state. And so they were looking for a licensed clinical social worker or whatever. But because in Oregon so few people are licensed,
I see.
They just couldn't find people.
And in
to work
social
there.
work in particular, every once in a while there's a state that's like, if you're just a social worker of any stripe, you can do all the things. The scope is the same, and so there's no incentive to go up to the top
or
shelf.
you could be like a licensed master's level social worker,
right.
but you don't have a clinical license. It's like kind
and
of
sometimes
weird.
it doesn't matter. It's like
if anyone who lives in Oregon knows exactly, you can definitely chime in there. But that was my understanding at the time. We put out feelers for people to come work there and do utilization reviews or whatever. But very few people would apply. So they're like, does anyone want to get licensed in Oregon? We'll pay for your licensure, which was like $500. So I was like, yes. Sure. And I was already planning on going into private practice. So I was like, I will use this as opening up more options for clients. Now, so knowing that, it's always interesting because I've thought about moving out of Nevada many different times. And something that I've thought about is my clients can't live in a state that I'm not licensed in, but I can go anywhere.
Right.
I can go to California. I can go live in New York. I can go live in Australia, which is something we've talked about.
Well, you're moving to Canada.
Ooh, well, so tonight this is going to be important. Good thing they asked this question because I will still be doing
upon goat delivery, Tess. Okay. I'm just giving away.
Do you have
a
car seat? Because she still rides in car seats.
Meet us in the desert. No cops.
Me or the goat.
We have one of those seatbelt harnesses for the dog. Will that work?
Woo!
You want to pull over a couple of hours, let her walk around.
I need to pee. I've had this. So I can go live anywhere. I can go live in Canada with Tess and Dustin and be like totally cool. So but my client cannot. They have to be residing in Oregon or Nevada.
Yes, and I love this question because it is a deep philosophical debate. Because this question is, now that we've entered the telehealth era, what is happening? Like, how is healthcare occurring? And I've heard some people say, look, if a patient wants to see me in Nevada and they live in, pick your state, Minnesota, if they choose to wire in to access me in Nevada, they are telecommuting to me. They are if they have cancer and they want to go to the Mayo Clinic in Arizona, they can get in a car and drive to Arizona and seek care. And there's lots of Nevadans who go to Arizona or go to UCLA in California, and like their right to seek their health care from providers of their choosing is so inherent that it doesn't matter where they live. They won't be turned away from UCLA because they get their mail in Las Vegas. Like, you're a sick person, you've shown up to us, we'll help you now. And so there's a philosophical argument of, by the same right, if you're a sick person and you want this therapist in this state, nobody should be able to tell you can't telecommute to them to go see them. But arguably, that's not how the laws are written. Like, philosophically, that's an idea.
Yeah.
But arguably, at least Nevada's one of the only states I know that has taken the time to write out a telehealth policy for mental health.
Okay.
And our policy, as I understand it, basically says, in the views of Nevada law, the patient is our jurisdiction. So you need to be licensed here to treat our patients here. But if you are a BetterHelp provider and you live in Arizona and you're not licensed in Nevada and you're trying to treat a Nevada patient, you are running afoul of Nevada's laws. And now there may be Nevada consequences for you. So that's interesting, right? Because then it's saying that the patient is where the healthcare exists.
Yeah, and I actually kind of like that because to me, that I think is kind of the function of the board. And I think a lot of people get this wrong. A lot of clinicians think that the board is there to represent them.
No.
It's not.
No.
The board is there to protect the people of the state.
Yeah, the public.
The
Yeah.
people who are receiving the services.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that way.
Yes. And so it's interesting because I think the writer's asking that good question because in this scenario, the writer has a group, has a therapist they see. The therapist is now letting them know, hey, we're in a different time zone. And, writer did the math and realized then you'd have to be 1,000 miles away. You've definitely changed jurisdictions.
Yeah.
And so there's an interesting question to that too. And writer, this gets actually into two other levels, which I appreciate your question because I think you invited complexity. So one of them is continuity of care.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we're balancing the pros and cons of treating somebody, especially whenever they're traveling around, we run up against another unique challenge, which is called disruption of care.
Yes.
So this is something that I philosophically have to think about because my practice is entirely telehealth.
Yeah.
And I have patients that live in Nevada, and then they will jump on a flight because they're a salesperson, and they'll go to another state. And they'll be in another state, and then they're wiring into their session with me.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem treating them.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because if I were their primary physician and they called in for a renewal of their allergy meds or their antibiotics, I'm not going, well, where are you right now? No, we have established your care with my office. Mm-hmm. I am the provider of record, and I am interested in helping you whenever I can. Mm-hmm. And we have this ability to do telehealth, and we're going to do that. And I'm prepared fully to defend myself. And I don't think it, but Nevada also has language in our code about telehealth about not disrupting continuity of care.
Right.
So they don't care if your person works at state line and it's like, oh, well, I crossed the border because the Wi-Fi is better at the Starbucks
Work
over
at the Hoover
here.
Dam or something.
Right. Yeah. So now what? Am I violating the law? Mm-hmm. And I think most of us would say, well, no, if you have an established patient and they're traveling, we don't want to disrupt care.
Yeah.
In this writer's situation, it's confusing because the provider left, but the provider's still licensed in your state.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a problem with that.
That's my thing. This sounds totally legit.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they have there's a clinician in our practice. She grew up in Nevada, got married, moved to North Carolina, and still sees Nevada clients.
I have no problem
and
with that.
North Carolina
as
clients,
long as she maintains her license in good standing in Nevada.
Yeah.
And then there's all these additional things about what is safe and good practices. Because, there's this upcoming legislation that may allow me to suddenly be licensed in 38 states.
Oh, okay.
And, if that happens, that doesn't just mean I'm going to start picking up sessions in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Right? And it would be unethical to do that because if I have a patient who calls me from Pennsylvania and says, would you treat me? Maybe. But we need to go over safety planning.
Yes,
I need to make
that
sure
was
that
the one
I'm the
thing.
right level of
Yeah.
care for you across such a distance.
Yes, that's what I was
there's a
gonna
lot of
bring up.
pieces to this. So there's definitely a propriety question of what is right. But if you're already established with the provider jumps across state lines, they're still licensed and in good standing in your state, and they're trying not to disrupt continuity of care. Checks all the green boxes for me. I'm not upset about that.
This is a separate thing than the super board, right?
What?
Yeah, this is separate than the super board. This is the counseling compact.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The super board is what Arizona has, which is instead of having an social workers board, alcohol and drug counseling board, MFT board, they just have one behavioral health providers board,
okay.
and the board is made up of all the disciplines, and they still have separate licenses, but one board governs all that, does all the background checks,
Okay.
collects all the fees,
It is a
all the
bad,
paperwork.
bad idea.
You don't like that
I do not like that at all.
because
Seems
you lose
messy.
discipline sovereignty.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's one.
yeah.
And then now you've got people who they're on a board outside of their area of expertise.
Right.
2.
Yeah.
3, there's something fishy with the money with that.
Really?
Because right now, the money that goes to each of those boards can't be touched by the government. So the state can't go in and redistribute any of those funds because it's their money that comes through them.
Oh.
When you create a super board, now that becomes part of the government.
Oh, interesting.
And now the government can take that and you have too much. I'm going to
We're gonna
reallocate
fund
this
the
money
firefighters
and put it over
and-
here.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's real fucked up.
Oh my gosh. I
yeah,
didn't know
good
that.
note.
Yep.
I think before you just said all that, if somebody said, "Do you think a super board's a good idea?" I probably would have said, "Yeah, it sounds efficient."
No, it's
Oh, wow.
bad.
I do agree with you that I'd get itchy about not governing our own disciplines because I actually believe in that. I think the marriage and family therapists need to watch their own because the way they think about a case it's not proper for like a social worker to decide whether they conceived of a case correctly, because the system's approach will inherently look different, and that doesn't mean they were wrong.
Yeah.
And I like that, because then they know this is the best practices of our tradition, and you're outside of it. We're not cool with this. You should be punished or whatever. I like that. But Superboard is efficient, my man. It's nice to just write one check.
Yeah.
And it'll have half of the resources that it currently has.
Yeah. So basically, the client has to be in the state that the clinician is licensed in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the client and the state of record should be the same.
So you could ask any listener out there, if you start seeing a therapist, just what is your licensing number? That should be displayed either behind them,
Sure.
in their little virtual office.
I
or
don't. I've got a partition behind me. Hanging up in
But you can also usually, like, my email has my licensing number and
you
the
can
signature.
also just look up
like,
our names. You can
yeah,
go to the board and
it's
see.
pretty
you can
easily.
verify a license easily online.
As long
It's
as
a lot
you know
of
that
Jimmy
they're
Jobins.
licensed. Yeah, right. It's interesting though because
Can't verify a PhD though, as it turns out.
Yeah, it turns out.
That
Can't even
is
get
wrong.
one.
You can just say you have one of those.
Really, or just lose it in a bet. No, but like an interesting point too about telehealth is like I've definitely had people over time, back whenever I was very fluid about the idea of telehealth across state lines because I wasn't very protective about it. I have people that would reach out from other states and I'd say, okay, great. We're going to scope our work into what I consider to be a life coaching scope. And if it ever bleeds out of that realm, which we clearly have defined together what that looks like, then I need you to agree with me that we're going to provide other care and you're going to get something local. But depending upon what you're looking for, I could be a good fit. So you'll have somebody that says, I really want to do like career thinking. I just want to think about like my job and like my confidence at my job and talk through stuff. Cause I think like, okay. And so back in the day, I used to be pretty comfortable with that. Or like people come to you like for relationship stuff or just basic stuff that was like subclinical. Mm-hmm. And I was comfortable with that. But then over time, I started to like tighten up on that a little bit and say, you know what, I'm not taking any new people from out of state. Like if I'm already established with somebody, then I don't want to, discontinue care. But for the most part, just like sticking to the state. But a lot of it's because like you just never know if somebody's going to elevate, and like you just really make sure that you're taking care of them as best you can. They're getting the best resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a brave new world that we live in,
Mm-hmm.
But I do like Jake Wiskershin, our friend up north. He really argues passionately for this argument that one of the ethical code components is autonomy, right? The autonomy of the patient. Respect the patient's choice. Mm-hmm. You don't just assign them a therapist and say it's the only one you can ever have. If it's a bad fit, they get to tell you no, and they get to get something else, right? And like they get to decide the treatment plan and things like that. Like autonomy is really important. Mm-hmm. And Jake argues it is a respect of autonomy to let a human being decide where they will fulfill their healthcare needs. And to tell them, no, there's an arbitrary border designed in the 1800s here that stops you from activating what you need for your health is dangerous. And so, he's pretty libertarian about it, but like, I appreciate the passion of that argument, but I also kind of appreciate, I like to have authority, I like to have accountability. And so I want those two things to coexist, which is where like the counseling compact may come in. Because it still makes you answerable to a state's board, but it doesn't say no to patients looking to cross state lines to get help.
Mm-hmm. I think I like your idea of implementing something in those scenarios where someone from another state or far away, other time zones are seeking help from you. I like the idea of there being some sort of verbiage about, or guideline, I guess, about what that should look like what kind of client, because yes, there's autonomy, but even people who are very distressed and suicidal still have autonomy, but it's like
there's still, autonomy is not the same as appropriate level of care, right?
Yeah.
Because I could just say, hey, look, I had a really bad weekend. I drank a lot. Mm-hmm. It's the first time I ever got drunk. I want to go to rehab. Mm-hmm. Respect my personal autonomy and put me in level 3.9 rehab. And it's like, no, like you're not clinically appropriate for this level of care.
Yeah. So I guess, maybe putting it under a level of care for telehealth. And maybe that's where telehealth will start shifting to. Like, hey, maybe you can open up borders for that, but you need to be running like a test or a scale to kind of help judge
On an
that.
international note, Tess, I've had Canadians call and tell me like, hey, we can't find anybody in Canada.
We'll settle for you who's never been to Canada.
Yeah, and I've had people reach out to say
know
like,
where we live.
Yeah, there's like
Jim
this
doesn't know which direction Canada is from
He's
here.
probably mispronouncing
It's
a
south
state.
if you go south enough. It's just the truth. It's a ball.
Same way that we can walk to Europe if we just go up and over.
Yes,
You can, I think.
I think you can. She knows. The Canadians are attached to the North Pole. It's where Santa lives.
Because the
walk.
North Pole is Europe.
Is it? Well, Santa's European. All right, so but on this point.
That was Schnickel.
Yeah, fuck it.
Speaking of the office.
Yeah, let's get out.
Yep.
He's
Stop
right.
out.
He's right. We don't have any more breaks. Oh wait, yeah, we are taking a break. Hold on. Let me look at the
Jesus
script.
Christ.
We're gonna take a
Still
quick break.
falling apart.
And when we come
Looks like
back,
it wasn't just Nick's absence.
we're gonna wrap up the show. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
And we're back.
There it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
As we wrap up the show, I want to remind you that if you sign up at patreon.com/therapy, you can get the extended show ad-free a day earlier, as well as enjoy our live chat Discord community, which Tess will attest to is a fun place.
It's so fun.
Come meet Tess.
Everybody's
There you go.
awesome.
Yeah, go on to the Discord and Tess will say hi to you as soon as you join. She'll send a
Maybe.
little emoji that waves at you. I think that's what people do. You can also enjoy our weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. And as you are hearing this episode, in our Patreon, you have heard the interview that Whitney and I did with National Public Radio. That was really fun. You did a
Yay.
great job.
So
and we got
did
to
you.
join a professor from UNLV and talk about please don't kill yourself since Donald Trump got elected.
Yeah, it's
Pretty good life advice.
Very good advice given there.
It's pretty much all we said, just over and over and
In
over.
summary.
Again. Yeah. But we also have some new friends that have joined us at patreon.com/therapy. Who is new to the Theraparty?
We got a new Therapod. Welcome, Kevin.
Welcome, Kevin.
And we got a new Therapartner,
Woo!
Nathan Mickey.
Oh.
Welcome, Nathan.
All right.
Nathan, if I'm mispronouncing that, let me know.
I think it's Mookie.
I don't think so. I think this is, it's a German. It looks German. And I believe this is pronounced Mickey.
All right.
I think it's Nathan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know what? You might be right.
Or Nat
Yeah.
Han. Could be
Nat
that,
Han.
too.
It's
Nat
Nat Han.
That hand.
It is not.
Now you like the hand.
Now I feel like an idiot.
See?
I like
Jim's singing too.
Welcome, Nate Han.
Oh, as we get to the end, we want to thank
False equivalency.
our theity, our resident theity, the Dark Lord himself, Jim's Fascia.
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 Not
Fascia.
fascia. And that's like your
Smoking a
muscles.
pancake.
Fascia.
Fascia. And of course, we'd like to thank the benevolent, revered, generous, and flagrantly pro-therapy diehards who love you all so much they give till it hurts, the Therapartners, Dirty B, and Pickett. And we want to thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Theraproducers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Myra, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Smitty Scoop, Ben Don, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Malia, Leon Kassab, Mason Miller, Richard fucking Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain. Thank you, Tess Miller.
That's me.
Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley slapping your face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, Mike Helm, Paris, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder, Cougar Falcon Scoop, Matt Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, A Sunny Boy, Slipperkai, motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, Hannah Marie, Andrew Langmead, Emma Kane, Elena, Cody the DeLorean Guy, Sam Cohn, and introducing Nat Han Mookie.
We have to say it that way every time now.
He knew what he was signing up for.
Not ham. Not ham.
If you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited
Not ham.
Why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy. And thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we have for this week's session. We want to thank our landlords, the Ice Cream Social podcast, and we want to thank our special guest today, Tess.
Thank you, Tess.
Thanks, eh? And remember, Pod Therapy isn't something you should keep all to yourself. Share the episode with the world. Tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. It's /PodTherapy on Facebook. And don't forget about all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com or by clicking on the link in the episode description to be taken to our anonymous Google form. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jim.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
Not ham.
Nat Han Muki. Sounds like gnocchi.
Sounds like a Thai food dish. Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, the two of you. So adorable. Bye.